Pure data, again, is meaningless for humans. Machines, of course, are pretty good at it. But for humans, we need someone to actually translate that data into something that we can understand.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into Notes of Design. To help support our mission spread knowledge, we have a very special guest on today's episode. It was a great honor to host Manuel Lima, who is a fellow of Royal Society of Arts and also named as one of the 50 most creative and influential minds by Creativity magazine. Manuel Lima is a founder of visualcomplexity.com and also presently working as senior UX manager at Google. And he's also a regular teacher of data visualization at Parsons School of Design. He has over 15 years of experience and has worked with companies like Google, Codecademy, Microsoft, Nokia, RGA, and Museum of Moving Pictures. Manuel is a leading voice of information visualization and has spoken at over 80 plus conferences including TED, LIFT, Visualize, Ars Electronica, Harvard, MIT, Yale, and many more. He's been also featured in various magazines like New York Times, Science, Nature, Business Week, Creative Reviews, Forbes, and Seed magazine, and many more. On this episode, we had a great conversation on what exactly is data visualization and why do we need to visualize data. Later that, we discuss on various techniques and process one must follow to represent data visually. Manuel had shared his insights and similarities between UX and data viz. He also gave us some ethical practices that one must follow while handling data. Said with that, hope you guys enjoy this episode, and I have a good news to share with you guys. So Notes of Design became the second most trending podcast in India, and we've been trending charts in many more countries. So thanks to all the wonderful guests who have came and made this mission to spread knowledge possible. So don't forget to tune in into Notes of Design every Friday to get some great knowledge on various design topics from the design leaders across the world. Happy designing, everyone. Hi Manuel, welcome to Notes of Design. It's a pleasure hosting you today on our show.
Pleasure is all mine.
So Manuel, how's your day going?
It's going well, yes. The weather has been getting better here in New York, even though there's a lot of craziness going around. I think it's good. At least the weather is getting better, so one positive thing.
If you could give a brief about yourself to our audience out there.
Sure. My name is Manuel Lima. I've been involved in the design and data visualization community for more than 15 years now. I kind of got started. I'm trained as an industrial designer, building physical products, right, like chairs and tables and all of that kind of objects. But then I really fall in love into data visualization at some point. And that's become kind of a focus of mine for the past 15 years or so. I've also been very involved in the UX design community. And that's kind of like my 9-to-5 job is at the moment being a UX lead at Google. And I've been there for almost 5 years now.
Thank you so much, Manuel. So what was your journey into design and how did you start? What are your tips to the beginners that you want to give right now?
It's a great question. You never quite know how things start, really. I mean, it goes so far back in time that I don't really recall exactly. There was not one single day that I woke up and said, I want to become a designer. But I knew that I think I went from wanting to be a firefighter to wanting to be an architect. And so this was probably very early on in my life. I think maybe I was like maybe 6 or 8. I don't know exactly how old I was. But I think part of my family has always been involved in arts and culture, architecture, poetry. There was a lot of writing historically in my family. So I was definitely more inclined towards that type of thing, especially through my mom. There was a lot of like curious nature. She was a very curious person by default. So I learned early on to be inquisitive. And I think that's still a quality that I appreciate in people in generally, but of course in designers. I think you really have to be curious and inquisitive to be a good designer, right? You have to wonder how things are made, how things are constructed, how things operate, right? You have to have that sort of wonder in your head constantly. And I think I had that a little bit in the beginning. I was obsessed with maps. This is again in a time that predates GPS by a few years. So once we traveled, we always use like physical maps, and I was obsessed by the object itself, right? And also the visual language that maps had, right? All the icons that they had, all the sort of the visual metaphors that they employed, which also changed dramatically from sometimes country to country. So I was really obsessed about maps. And I remember this cabinet of ours we had at home was filled with these maps.
much.